Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you missed the last episode, we are here to talk to a priest, this priest actually, to see if we can learn anything about what was confessed to him by a man who was recently murdered.
I can't tell you everything, but maybe we can work something out. But first, I'd like to hear something about you, my son. With whom do I have the honor? Where are you from?
I'm from Skalitz.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about your kin?
They're dead.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here, we'll drink to them. It must have been terrible.
It was terrible. It seemed so pointless. We had no warning. They just appeared and began the slaughter. God knows why. They killed anyone who didn't make it to the shelter of the castle. The parents, the girl, even the Deutsch who was on Sigismund's side. I didn't make it to the castle. I wanted to try and help my parents, but there was nothing I could do. Then I fled to Talmberg with the Cumans on my heels. They almost killed me. They slaughtered people in the surrounding villages. There's a pile of bodies in front of the church in Rovna. Folk who tried to take refuge there, but
My poor child. May God grant them eternal rest. And how did you come to get this assignment? I'd have expected Sir Hanish to send that old grouch, Bernard.
he did, but I found a witness and the trail led here to Ujit, so he sent me here to follow it up.
Ah, well, congratulations. It's nice to see someone using their head to find things out instead of torture. We'll have to drink to that. Now the most important thing. What actually happened at Noel? The good folks here about are saying all kinds of terrible things. But
I actually really like this character.
The rumours aren't exaggerated this time, unfortunately. The Neuhof stud farm was raided by bandits, but they didn't come to pillage or even take the horses. They only wanted to kill. They maimed the horses and slaughtered some people. I'm sure they would have killed more, but the bandits quarrelled among themselves and broke off the attack. And judging by what's left of our Lubosh, they're still settling accounts.
I see it's every bit as bad as people claimed. Dreadful. Well then, here's to those poor souls who had to die so pointlessly and so terribly.
I've told you.
Are we actually drinking every time he says, let's drink to that?
Don't look much like our parish priest at home. I noticed you're pretty handy with a sword. I wouldn't expect that of a man of the cloth.
You know what they say. The Lord moves in mysterious ways.
But this is a bit more mysterious than others.
Let's just say I haven't always been a priest. Fate led me to places where affairs were settled by force. These days, of course, it's just a bit of exercise to keep me in shape.
Well, we've had an agreeable chat, but now let's get down to business. So, about this confessional seal. Do you really want more innocent people to die?
Henry, that's not how it works. There are matters in which you can't make exceptions because if you do it once, you'll forever be tempted to do it again. If people stop believing in the church because their confessional secrets are betrayed, they won't trust anyone, and that's worse than even the most hideous crime.
I understand, but that means I've reached a dead end. Those cutthroats will strike again, and I can't stop them.
Chin up, lad. I might have a solution.
What?
If I tell you what Lubosh told me, I'd be betraying the confessional secret. But, first thing tomorrow, I'll try something I think might help you.
Word of honor?
On my soul.
Okay.
I always wonder...
Interested.
The priest tells his congregation.
Where on earth do you get the ideas for your sermons?
Well, Ujits isn't Prague. It's not enough to instruct people. They have to be entertained, too. If I only read from the Bible, I'd soon be preaching to an empty church.
Our priest wasn't exactly a bard. So what do you preach to your flock about?
It has to be something topical. Condemning vices. And of course, describing them in detail. The tongue lashing about the two popes goes down well these days. And stories from real life, with a nice moral to them, are popular as well. Especially if they're about fornication and similar scandalous vices.
Can you give me an example?
Well, recently a priest by the name of Jan Hus started preaching in Prague, in the Czech language, and the people liked it. I hear he always has a full house. A journeyman who heard him told me what Hus is preaching, and I like the sound of it. I'm thinking about putting it in my own repertoire.
What's so amazing about it?
The preaching of Master Jan Hus about Mother Church. The lamentable wealth in which the church is drowning has turned to poison, and nearly the whole of Christendom is contaminated. Just like a flock of hungry ravens, they settled on this land to devour every grain of gold and silver. They know no mercy. Their hearts are corrupted by longing for wealth, and they shamelessly profit from everything. You want to baptize a child? Pay. You want to steal and murder? Pay and you will have absolution. What if the devil himself were to pay? Would he ascend to heaven too? With such money gained from the poor, they buy beautiful horses to ride and needless servants to pamper them. They gamble at dice and dress their whores in expensive fur, while Jesus Christ walked barefoot and had no place to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too. Amen.
Well, this Jan Hus character is quite a rebel.
Oh, the congregation will love it.
I don't doubt it.
Let's drink to that.
Funny. That last bit reminds me of someone.
What do you mean? My situation's completely different. Huth preaches against the prelates and the clerics who are robbing the poor. Look at me. I don't have a pot to piss in. I'm no better off than the folk I preach to. I'm one with them in poverty and suffering and everything that troubles them. I drink with them and curse those stuffed habits and sassafras.
All right.
Okay. I wasn't sure which dialogue option to pick there. This is a good conversation though in this game.
I copied down some of his sermons. If you're interested, you can read them at my presbytery.
What do you think of this Jan Hus?
He's certainly a wise man. A little overzealous for my taste. If he got out of Prague and came here for a look, I'm sure he'd stop condemning drinking and lying with women.
Don't you think it's a bit odd when someone boozes and lives in sin with a woman and then criticises the Pope for debauchery?
No, I don't.
Fair enough.
What do the common folk think of it?
They like it. They're happy to hear someone say what they think themselves, but are afraid to say aloud. Things that make them angry. And they're calling for change. In a few years, it'll have grown beyond control. You mark my words, the people will rise up and the church will be shaken to its very foundations.
Yeah, unless they burn him at the stake first.
Nonsense. They can't burn a master of the most respected university in Europe.
I think you would be surprised.
Thanks for the sermon, but I think I've been morally uplifted enough. It's getting quite late. What are your plans, Father?
What do you suppose? We have a drink, of course.
Alright.
That sounds like a good plan.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Fair enough. Drinking with a priest. Honestly, I've done that in real life, so... Mind you, he wasn't a traveling warrior priest, unfortunately. He was just, an older gentleman dying of cancer. Oh man, we're gonna get fucked up. Every time I come to this town, Henry ends up losing control. I wonder if that was a strength roll based off of my stats.
Come on over here, sit down and have a drink with us.
Don't vex me again, Father. It's 3 hours past dusk, and curfew is long gone.
So what?
So, I'll have you all whipped and put in the stocks, and I'll write a letter to the bishop about you, priest.
Well, nothing to worry about then. Everyone knows the only one around here who can ride is me.
Men, throw them out.
You looking for a fight? Henry, back me up.
Oh, fuck. Alright, let's do this. My drinking buddy, I got your back. We're gonna beat up the bailiff. Oh, it's so much shit. The other problem is I think I'm supposed to probably lose this. Oh. Okay, I'll leave the bailiff to him. Oh, did he already... I'll let the priest fight the bailiff. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now who am I fighting? God, it's hard to see when you're drunk. Alright, I helped Godwin. I'm going to jail. Excuse me, what am I doing right now? Climb the bell tower. Where are we going?
And Henry, too, I'm sure. Right, Henry?
Stop that nonsense, Godwin. Are you out of your mind? What will people say?
They can say what they like. What do I care? What do they do to me? Watch the step, my dear. Careful, you don't hurt yourself.
Godwin, you're a boob.
Wait, I'm in a private area. Where did I just go? What am I doing? This is the problem with being drunk off your ass.
Here we are. Look at this beauty.
Oh. We can't do this, can we?
Who says? Get ringing, wench.
This is wonderful.
Oh, man.
And now, my dears, comes the climax of the evening.
Are we banging them? Yeah, I guess so.
Godwin, you old goat.
Come here. Oh.
The priest has mounted up. What do you say, Henry? Shall we take a little ride of our own?
Hey, that's the super helpful woman from last episode. The first one, not the second one. I don't know if it's just because of how I have my brightness settings, but I could not see a damn thing right there. Oh. What am I doing? Am I riding a sheep? No, I'm just standing around in my night clothes, eh? Godwin! You crazy old... You crazy bastard. Every time I do a job for you, I end up getting fucked up. And I'll end pretty much laid. The first time those three chicks were drugged out and hitting on me, and then the second time I got drunk and laid.
Well, I have to say that was a fine evening.
Oh, some of the shit in this game is ridiculous.
Godwin, you beast! Get up! Do you hear me?
Wake up, you drunkards!
Oh, fucking hell. Where the... Oh, what the... Oh, who the hell are you?
Oh, Henry. My great friend, Henry. Didn't we have a wonderful time?
Well, you certainly did, you old lecher. Now you better pull yourself together quick. You haven't much time. There's some water and something to eat on the table there, but if I were you, I would move my hairy arse before my flock eats me alive.
Oh, step on in my head. My guts. My poor suffering stomach. What was that woman on about?
Oh fuck, is it Sunday morning?
Flock eats me alive. I've forgotten something. What have I forgotten?
Where the fuck am I?
What the fuck was it? Mass! Oh shit, I have to say mass. I gotta say mass. You have to help me.
How? You're the priest.
Do I have to give a sermon?
Maybe the liturgy. But I have to give a sermon as well. Oh, this is a disaster. They're gonna excommunicate me.
I'd like to help you, but...
You can. You can do the sermon for me.
What? So, first I investigate a murder no one wants investigated. Then I drunkenly keep the whole town up all night. And now you want me to preach at them from the pulpit? Do you want them to burn us at the stake?
No. No, I've got it. Suppose that Sir Ratzig's protege. You just came from studying in Prague. And you want to share the words of Master Jan Hus, who you recently...
Oh, Christ.
Henry, look. From what I remember, we might have overdone it a bit last night. And if the bailiff or someone else complains about me, the bishop's gonna have my guts for garters. So I'd appreciate it. Stop gaping at me like a stuffed squirrel and start helping.
You're mad. You're stark raving mad.
I'm not. It's a perfect plan. It's flawless. Oh. How about this? If you help me with this, I'll tell you who Lubosh's cronies are.
Hey, hey. His vows aren't so sacred now, are they? Completed the quest drinking binge. Oh, and our drinking leveled up again. That's awesome. Sure, let's say that one.
So all at once the confessional seal isn't so sacred?
Don't mock me. I won't give you a second chance.
Well, alright. I can't make any promises about what'll happen.
No, neither can I.
What do you want me to do exactly?
I'll go and start the liturgy. Then I'll introduce you. You give the sermon I told you yesterday in the tavern, and that's that. No need to drag it out. If it turns out well, I'll tell you what I know about Lubosh.
Christ almighty. Fine then. We have a deal.
Okay. Memorize this. I think I remember the sermon. Are you the one I banged? No, that's Godwin's concubine, right?
Hey.
So I did bang the chick in blue. Hell yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Go Henry. Godwin, get him off
Be a
face.
bit more careful.
Gotta go. Still can't even walk straight, my guy. This is gonna go badly. Hey Pebbles, you missed a fun night. This is the church. Shit. Alright, Henry, let's do this. I wanted you to be a master of speech. Let's prove that wasn't all in vain.
I thought he'd never show up. Swill dog.
Look, he can hardly walk after his kick.
You were with them, you beast. Just you wait. Look at him. Mother of God, any minute now he'll throw up.
Yeah, Godwin, don't puke. If you don't puke, we might be able to hold this together.
I couldn't sleep a wink last night with all that clamor.
Henry should have leaned over and been like, neither could your daughter.
Patres et filii
This is why I'm always getting into trouble in real life.
Accepit panem in sanctas at venerabiles a manus suas. Hac facite in meam commemoration. Brothers and sisters, you may have had the honor of meeting Henry from Scholars, who is here at the behest of Sir Hanush to investigate that heinous crime at Neuhof. You might not know that Henry recently visited Prague, where by the grace of God was able to hear Master Jan Hus from the esteemed Charles University preaching.
Oh, I can't believe the twist this quest has turned.
To stand here today in my stead and tell us what he heard. Because, as you all probably know, Jan Hus is a very popular preacher in Prague. So Henry, you may begin.
Oh man, I didn't even put on my clothes. I'm still in my PJs. That was an oversight on my part, I think. I should put my armor back on. Let's begin confidently.
Brothers and sisters, let me get straight to the point. I'd like to talk about the church and how corrupt it is.
Boy has a cheek.
Creation has given to every man the power by which he might rule the whole world. But that power does not give him the right to rule. That right belongs to God alone. It is the corruption of God's pastors here on earth that has brought misfortune on our heads. Plague, enemies, injustice, hunger and chaos, failed harvests, fires, floods and other catastrophes.
Oh, jeez.
And it is all due to the corrupt servants of God who do not practice what they preach. They think sins can be washed away by money, and they sell indulgences, and that's bad.
Oh.
Because sin
All right.
cannot be redeemed with silver.
Henry's speech is not that great.
It is the custom of the gluttonous prelates and monks to preach against sin. But what do they know of us ordinary folk? Let us remember the marriage at Cana, where our Lord Jesus Christ himself feasted with the other guests and drank his fill. And when the wine was gone, he performed a miracle and created more. He, whose companions were poor travellers, simple folk, prostitutes and troublemakers, performed a miracle so the feast could continue.
Now that's the kind of sermon I like to hear.
No, brothers and sisters. Jesus did not condemn alcohol. Drink to lighten the cross you bear in this vale of tears, but not with such abandon that you cannot keep holy the Sabbath. For there should be moderation in all things, and it is not drinking itself that is sinful, but intemperance and beastly indulgence.
He's right.
Well, that one woman's on my side. Let's continue orderly.
Enough about sin, which the prelates are so fond of preaching about, and whose absolution they promise if you pay enough coin to Mother Church. What if the devil himself were to pay? Will the bishops tell us he too would ascend to heaven? And what about those bishops? They sin without remorse, and with the money grasped from the poor for indulgences, they keep fine horses and hordes of servants to pamper them. They play dice and garb their mistresses in expensive furs, while Christ, the Lamb of God, walked barefoot and had nowhere to lay his head. Look to your consciences, you robbers of the poor, for you are seen by God and his people too.
Down with the prelates! Away with them!
We're fortunate to have our good father Godwin. At least he's a fair and simple man.
I say to you, in the words of Jan Hus, he who knows much, let him speak much. He who knows little, let him speak.
That was kind of crap there, Henry.
Speak as much as he knows, and he who knows nothing, let him at least teach his neighbour one virtuous deed by setting him good example and refraining from playing dice and from fornication. And that applies both to priests and to you, brothers and sisters.
That's his conclusion?
That is all I heard in Prague. Amen.
I don't think that went that well. I think they're more confused than anything else.
The lad spoke well, considering what a soak he is.
He's right, that Hus.
The young man shouldn't drink so much, but the Lord's given him a
I'm
silver
glad he
tongue.
came here. I don't suppose I'll ever get to Prague, and he told it nicely.
I'd say I did okay. Like a C minus maybe.
Well, well, my boy, you have talent, and I can't deny it. And you pulled a thorn from my side. I almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I noticed. I wasn't the only one.
Well, what's to be done? I'll make it up somehow.
So, about our bargain.
Although it's a sin,
So gluttony and fornication.
God does forgive a penitent.
So, what did Limpy Lubos tell you? Was he at Neuhof that day? Who was with him? And where are they now?
Now slow down. I'm sorry, but he didn't tell me that much.
Don't let me down after all I've been through. For you,
Well, now Lubos came to me shortly after it happened. His conscience was gnawing at him. And I must say, in the end, he turned out to be a better man than he looked. He said they'd been hired through some crony of theirs. And at first they were just to steal some horses. But then it all turned sour and people started getting killed. And neither he nor his cronies wanted anything to do with that. So they fell out from the gang and fled.
fell out.
Yeah, there was a body found in the woods by Neuhof.
That would explain something. Lubos kept jabbering that he wasn't a murderer, that he didn't want to do
Yes, that makes sense.
So I know that Lubos killed the murderer and he's dead too. The trouble is, I need to find the ones who are still alive. I need names and places. Did he mention any of the others?
Only nicknames. Talked about some fella called Riki from Ledechko, Pius, Timmy.
Pious. That lot are about as pious as I am ordained.
Nonsense. You would make an expert. And anyhow, with your skills, you ought to be able to sniff out this Riki from Ledechko, right?
Well, we'll have to now. There's not much else to go on. Let's hope he's not hanging from the wall too.
Indeed. And I'd hate to be excommunicated for nothing. Anyhow, good luck. You watch out for yourself. These people clearly mean business. And I'd like to raise a tankard with you again sometime.
Yeah, I'll try. Although I'm not sure I'd survive another night of your debauchery.
And if anyone should ask, you heard nothing from me. I'll deny everything.
I don't doubt it.
That's a cool character, man. I like that priest. I guess, what do we do now? We go back to Radzig? Let him know. Is that his name? I think his name's Radzig, right? We go back to him and report what we figured out, or do we just run off on our own now? Yeah, track down Riki. I guess I'm being a shithead and I'm not reporting again. Alright, well, I guess we'll end this episode here, and next time on Kingdom Come Deliverance, we will track down Riki, and see where that leads to. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and take care.